So we're going to set up for the Simulating Radioactive Decay lab. So the first thing I'm going to do is add it to my table of contents. So this is our 10th lab, and this is Simulating Radioactive Decay. And that's going to start on page 32. So if I go find 32. Yep, that's right. Find 32. First thing I'm going to write at the top is my title. So this is Simulating Radioactive Decay. And then you're going to put today's date, which is the date that you're doing this lab on. So it's probably somewhere around January 23rd. So we're going to say 1/23/2017. The first thing is our purpose. Now, the purpose of this lab is to simulate radioactive decay using M&Ms. So, the purpose of this lab is to simulate radioactive decay using M&Ms. So all atoms decay to some extent and at some rate. We're actually going to use M&Ms to simulate this because it's a little bit easier for us to manipulate and count and work with in our lab setup. So after our purpose comes our hypothesis. And for your hypothesis, we're going to look at the relationship between the number of half-lives and the number of undecayed atoms. And so for our hypothesis, I want us to predict what that relationship will be. So the relationship between the number of half-lives and the number of undecayed atoms will be a blank relationship. And you're going to use your table of relationships at the back of your lab notebook. So we have positive linear, exponential, square root, negative linear, inverse, or inverse square. So you're going to pick one of those as your prediction for what you think that relationship will be. After your hypothesis comes your materials and procedure. And then after your materials and procedure comes your observations. And then you're going to have a data table. And your data table is going to have half-lives and number of undecayed M&Ms. And so we're going to start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half-lives. So your 0 half-lives is your original total number. So this is total at the beginning. So that's the first number that you're going to write, and then you're going to fill this out as you go. Now, after your data table, you're going to have your graph. And you can graph this bigger if you want, but depending on your space and how much space you have, on your x-axis, you're going to put half-lives. And on your x-axis, you're going to put number of undecayed atoms. So this column will be your x-axis, this column will be your y-axis, and so that's what you're going to graph. And then after your graph will come your summary. And then your summary for this lab is going to follow the typical 6-sentence summary that we have that we can find at the beginning of our lab notebook. You can find the accepted results in an attachment to this lab assignment in Schoology.